Well, good afternoon, everybody. Looking at the folks who are here and thinking about the folks on the list who are not here, I think Mike Pickard said he was going to be at the ASBMB Undergraduate Education Summit in Missouri, I believe. And I think that Colette is still in Europe at a family wedding. And Suzanne, I'm not sure where Suzanne is. She tends to come late or to try to get the information from us afterwards. So I don't know whether we'll see her or not. And I think that's about it. Jeff is here with me in my office, so I had to turn off my air conditioner. So we're going to try not to create any hot air today during the conversation. That's going to be a real challenge for me, especially. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
And so I thought we would start. The things that we should talk about today are the BAMBED manuscript that we started talking about last time. This is the manuscript about known structure, unknown function, an inquiry-based undergraduate biochemistry laboratory course. And so a couple of us are going to report on that. And then we'll also spend some time looking at discussing protocols. Apparently there's some challenges getting protocols uploaded and getting access to the Google Drive. So we'll take a look at that and then talk about where people stand with their protocols and videos and what their plans are. I'd also like to spend some time thinking about reasonable expectations for deliverables by the end of the summer. The end of the summer term at RIT is going to be August 7th. Or 8th or something like that, and I don't know about you, but I'm going to be taking some time off between then and the start of the fall, and I would highly recommend that. So we need to decide what we have in hand and what whether we'll be creating stuff during the fall semester. I'm hoping to avoid as much just-in-time delivery as possible. It would be really nice to have the stuff in place. For not just for the people at RIT that are teaching the course, but also for Stefan as he goes about designing the assessment tools. But let's start off by talking about the known structure, unknown function manuscript. And Anya, I think you are going to, wow.
Well.
Okay, Anya, why don't you go ahead? I think you were going to try to get a membership on the University of Virginia site and see what came out.
And I put onto the Google Docs in the protocol folder a little subfolder that's an example of the UVA materials. And if I knew how to do screen share, I could show kind of what they have. It's really well developed stuff, but we may have to adapt their protocols. But basically, they have activities for in-class, they have homework assignments, they have quizzes. They use TAs heavily, so they're not multiple choice quizzes, they're more like answer questions kind of quizzes. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I'm really impressed with how much work went into that, and I think they've been doing it for more than 5 years, because for some things they have like, you know, we'll post it in 2010, so they've been doing it for a while now. So I don't see the point in redeveloping their protocols. I think we probably should connect with them and try to kind of collaborate in terms of wet lab protocols.
Agreed. Okay, now if you want to show us your screen, are you on a Mac or Windows?
I'm on the Mac, but for some reason I don't get the sound. I can't figure out how to use sound from my Mac. Do we have enough people here to where I can try to log back in from my Mac? Right now I'm off my cell phone. I'm going to try to do the other one.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, like, I don't know if you guys, while I'm trying to figure out how to do screen share, I think you can just go to the shared document and pull up some of their documents. That might work just as well. So you can see kind of the detail they have on. Sorry, I'm so not good with this.
Okay, well,
Hang
why don't you go ahead and get your connection from your laptop, see if you can make that work, and we can look at the documents that exist here and talk about them a little bit.
Okay. So I think I'm now. Okay.
Okay, Anya, are you with us? I see your icon, Anya. I seem to have lost audio. Hmm. Okay, Anya, to screen share, if you go to the left-hand side of the Google Chat pane, the second or third icon down is if you mouse over it, it's going to say screen share. Just click on that, and that will share your screen with us. Okay, Anya, we can see that you're showing us things and going through different modules. Um, it seems like since you were getting that feedback at some point that you were getting your voice and your speakers on your laptop, I think, had to be working to get that kind of a feedback loop going on. So if you can turn your phone off completely, now we've got a screen of you looking at a screen. Boy, this is really profound. Okay. I have an idea. We've done this before when I couldn't get Pymol and Promol to work. Anya, um, how about if I share my screen with the stuff on it, you tell me where to click, okay? And that way you can turn your stuff on, turn your sound off, and go to your phone so we can actually hear your commentary. So if you click in your box to stop screen share, that should work. Okay. So I'm going to go to, this is the protocols folder, but I'm going to go to the, is it biochemlab.org site? It is. Suzanne is here. Great. Okay, Anya, tell me what I should be doing. Maybe you should log out of your laptop and go back to your phone. It seems to be, the phone seems to be working okay. Okay, well, in any case, this is the BioLED site. I'm trying to remember what the acronym stands for. The ED must be education. The bio is obviously biology. Maybe it's BIOL for biology. And there are various features on the site. Oh, okay. And here's the news. They posted a news item that their article has been accepted for publication. And other articles indicate that students are contributing. They've got one case where a student actually published a first author research article. That's probably, I'm not sure if that will apply immediately to our research project, but it's certainly something that we should download and take a look at. I'll save that for later.
Hello, Paul, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, Anya?
Yes, sorry. Paul, I just sent you my login. I don't know if it's legal to share with a large group or not, but basically you can use my login to get into the instructor site. I like that they have the example quizzes and sort of materials protected, that they don't have it completely open.
Right.
And then you get into the actual detailed, like, assignments and assessments too. I sent it to you via email.
Right, I see it.
Mm-hmm. So if you then log in as an instructor.
Okay. I'm in. I'm logged in.
For some reason. Yeah, there we go. Go back. And so as an instructor, if you click, oh, where am I? Can't see anything for some reason. So just basically go to modules, and then you can open up and see all the resources they have.
Okay, I'm not seeing modules as an option here.
Under instructor, all right, now that I'm logged out, it doesn't let me see it. There is sort of 3 tabs across. There's like a whole curriculum outline, but then a second tab is actually modules, so you would have to get to the modules.
Oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Instructional modules. Okay.
Yes, And so if you look at, in terms of detail, like the SDS, I think it's module 7. So they have expression and like the SDS page gel. They don't have the details I think we were trying to put in with the stacking resolving as much. So, but in general, I think there was so much work that went into it. I'd hate to try to replicate it. So I might be able to adapt. So I could email them and say, we're impressed with your materials. What's your conditions on use? And can we sort of derive from your work and credit you? Or kind of where are you going with this? Should we try to work together on assessment stuff?
Mm-hmm. That seems very reasonable to me.
Uh-huh.
Right, and I mean, looking at what they're doing and what we're doing, it seems sufficiently distinct that we can keep doing what we're doing and they can keep doing what they're doing and operate separately in parallel or overlap more as things unfold. I think I mentioned last week, I'm really glad this article didn't come out before our proposal was reviewed.
Yes, but they are lacking on all the, I think, computational stuff. Like their students are not really doing that. And I think their assessment is pretty weak in terms of, there are quizzes, there's multiple choice kind of quizzes, but it's not really nailing, like, what do students really know and are able to do. And actually, since like our last conversation, I found on NSF, apparently Trevor Anderson is part of this NSF grant that's aiming to assess like experimental knowledge, like I guess experimental knowledge. There is a RCN UBE, like a research coordination network grant from NSF that's gone out to Purdue, and I don't know if Stefan is part of that, but it seems like what we would have opportunity to do with Trevor and Stefan is to really go after what do students really know and what's the path they take there, without having to redevelop instructional materials.
I agree. As I read through the paper, I mean, most of the data that they present in terms of student assessment is the student assessment of learning gains, which is basically the student's opinion about what they learned,
right?
Which has some value, but it doesn't really tell us if they learned it or if they just feel like they learned it. And clearly, I mean, confidence is part of the process, but I've been in the situation. I have a friend who describes me as being often wrong but never in doubt. So I've often experienced having great confidence about my knowledge of things when in fact I didn't have the knowledge to be confident about. So, you know, and I think the kind of materials that Trevor and Stefan will be developing, I should say, they're in the grant, will be developing them. Will go a long ways to figuring out what the students actually know. So maybe the next step is, I think, Anya, if you would contact them and tell them who we are and what we're doing. I'm not sure how much. Part of me doesn't want to show our hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, I'm thinking about the NSF proposal itself, and thinking about, you know, a piece of that we could send to them that would be informative. I'm actually going to open the proposal, and I'm wondering if there's an abstract in there that we could send out.
So we can approach just kind of tentatively, right, and just see. First thing is, what's the conditions on use? And I have a feeling they're going to say, you know, we're NSF funded, we need to distribute this information as widely as you can. Everybody get a account, instructor account on there. And then the question is, you know, how, and I think that's a question for us too, in terms of trying to adapt to each individual institution and context. Like for some of their induction procedure, it says, you know, the night before students inoculate a small culture. At 7 a.m. students put it to a large culture. By 3 o'clock it's going to be done. Well, it's not going to work for my class because my students will not show up. So there's still going to be a lot of, you know, adaptation of the protocols to the local conditions, whether it's a technician does it or they have some things done by TAs. I think a lot of us don't have TAs from the group. So there will still be a lot of adapting, but I think from the point of view of like us delivering something to NSF, I don't think they'll have any objection to us building on the existing materials rather than duplicating it.
That makes sense to me. I'm looking at the proposal, and I think if we send the project summary document, if you were to send that to them now, I don't know if I have this as a separate document. I mean, I've got it as one page in a 170-page Acrobat file. How do you pull a single page out of an Acrobat file? Can somebody tell me how to do that real quick?
Well, I'll just extract it and email it to you in a minute.
Great, thanks, Herbert. Thanks. Okay, so Anya, if you would contact them and tell them that, you know, who we are, and in fact, it's the project summary includes a listing of all the campuses that are participating, and then say that we'd like to use, you know, your protocols rather than developing them ourselves. That would be great.
Okay, I can draft something, send it to you for okay. I don't know if everyone wants to be on that email, but basically, I'm sure they will say, just go ahead, request the instructor accounts and use it, right? And the question is, when we derive something from it, we may have to put an acknowledgement that, you know, it's been, you know, based on their documents.
Absolutely, and there's no problem with that. I mean, we could acknowledge them if we publish something. We'll acknowledge them as a resource that helped us tremendously.
So how does everyone feel? Should I include everybody on our email in that exchange, or do you want less clutter and just when whatever they say we'll share and then do that? I don't know what's the best way to approach this. Who wants to be CC'd on the email that will go out to UVA?
Well, please CC me in.
Right, definitely. And I'll send you a draft before I send anything to them.
Okay. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and just CC me at this point, unless anybody else has a strong objection.
Okay.
Bob Stewart has a question. You know, what does NSF expect of our project? Protocol development, student assessment, actual problem solving. I think they're interested in the student assessment. I think that's the main thing that really, you know, and they do want us to produce something that people can use. The fact is that some of the things that are that are on the Virginia site, like running an SDS gel or expressing the plasmids or so forth, are protocols that we will use. But the protocols that we're, you know, the videos we're developing for Promo, for PyRX, you know, for docking, you know, for use of PFAM and diary and BLAT, I don't believe they have them. My impression is that they're, as Anya said, they don't dive too deep into the bioinformatics stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, and once again, they've been doing this for 5 years, so maybe they know something we don't know. But I think, Anya, if you could start the conversation,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like you know, we should have I should be in touch with these people, just to update them, you know, as we move forward. And I certainly want to keep communication open here. I don't want to have any kind of us versus them kind of process happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And with, you know, with the you know, when, well, I was going to make some smart remark and I decided not to. But the fact is that collaboration is a good thing, and NSF will appreciate it. And I believe that they indicated on the manuscript that there were at least 3 NSF awards that contributed to developing this. 2 career awards and 1 Division of Undergraduate Education award. So that's good. I also wanted to mention a couple of things I noticed in the manuscript. One is I went through the list of the structures that they're working on, and there's no overlap with any of the structures on our short list we're going to look at this fall. And in fact, I believe that the structures they have all have some kind of preliminary function assignment on the protein data bank. So their qualification is that they don't have biochemical characterization, but they have preliminary function assignment. So they're not quite as far out on the end of the well, and they're not quite as far removed from security as we are on this one. It's interesting to me as I look at the site that I logged into, Anya, that they have a 1 semester and a 2 semester version of this process. And so that, you know, once we hear back from them, I'll probably go ahead and join up as well. And in fact, may encourage everybody to set up an account there. And we can take a look at those things and decide what we need to do. All right, I'm looking at comments. Rebecca stating that we shouldn't just grab one of their protocols and pass it around and say this is what we're doing. We should incorporate those into our protocols, and I agree. You know, whoever is assigned to develop particular protocols should take the protocols that they've developed and you know, and incorporate them into ours. And I would say out of courtesy, not only out of courtesy, but out of moral requirement, we need to cite them. If we do in fact incorporate their stuff into any of our protocols, we need to cite what they've done and indicate that significant portions of these materials were drawn from the UVA site. Right. The SDS page said the protocol looks okay. Great. And if we, well, actually, we'll come back to that in a couple minutes. Any other comments on the manuscript or on the BioLED website? Okay. All right. So the next thing that we should talk about, I'm going to stop my screen share. The next thing we should talk about is the protocols. Where do people stand with that? So I'm going to turn my microphone off and ask people to report in on how things are coming along with their protocols.
Hi, this is Rebecca. The SDS page one is looking really good. A lot of people have made some additions and comments, and I added in some figures, and I think it's looking really nice and complete. And whoever put at the very end, there's like a table of objectives and goals, and oh, my mouth was watering when I was reading it. I think it was right dead on, and I really liked that a lot. I've written up a draft of the protein concentration protocol, but I can't figure out how to get it up onto our protocol drive.
Perhaps what you need is a protocol droid.
I was just watching that movie last night.
I couldn't resist. One of the things that's been hardest for me in becoming an administrator as a department head, I have a lot of smart aleck remarks that I just have to keep to myself now. So occasionally, when I find one that seems perfectly innocuous to me, I'm happy to let it go. Okay, so if you go to your Google Drive page, I'm going to share my screen again.
I've gotten it twice onto the My Drive, but then I can't get it onto the drive for the NSF in the protocol drive. It's just not showing up there. Maybe because I'm the author, I'm not seeing it, and everyone else is. I don't know.
Right. So let's go there. I'm opening the protocol folder right now. Okay. So if you open your file, actually, I'm going to open a file that's not even connected to this at all, and show what I would do to get there. So here's a completely separate project.
Can you share your screen? I'm not seeing it.
I think I am sharing my screen.
Rebecca, if you look across the bottom, there's everyone's icon. You need to click on Paul's where there's a white box around it, and then it'll show in your main screen.
Thank you, I found it.
Okay. So I'm selecting a presentation I did ASBMB a while ago. Okay. And once it's loaded up, then there's a folder icon here. So if I click on that, if I click on to move it to a folder, then I go to Organize, and it brings up some options of places that I can put it. So then I would just go, in my particular case, the folder that we're in is the NSF IUSE 2014 protocols folder. and I could just select that. And then when I do that, it should go into that folder and it should be shared with everybody. So I'm actually going to do that to see if it works. Oh, I don't want to take it away from the other people who are working on that project with me. You know what? I'm going to. They can live without it. They probably don't care anyway. So there's the folder. I'm going to move it. And now if you look in the protocol folder, it just appeared, at least it appeared for me.
So when I do that for a document that I have in my Google Drive, it's not giving me the option. It's just showing me my drive. It's not letting me put it anywhere else.
And are you logged into your Google Drive by the same email address that we shared with you for this drive?
Yeah. And I can get to our folder, to the folder.
So the problem is that Suzanne needs to go on the left-hand side where it says My Drive and Shared with Me. She needs to go to Shared with Me, and she'll see the NSF IUSE folder there, and then she needs to drag that up into My Drive so that she can then move it from her drive location to the right place.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's Rebecca. That's not working either. Maybe this is just something I need to deal with on my own. I don't want to waste people's time.
Well, it sounds like a permissions issue to me. So I'm going to check the permissions on this folder again to make sure that I've got every possible version of who you are on the list. So if I go all the way down, what's the what's the email address for you that should be on this list?
Protein God 1 at Yahoo.
All right.
Oh wait, no, Protein Goddess 2001 at Google.
I really like that name. Yeah, there you are. And you've got edit capabilities and everything. So let me check the protocols folder and see if the sharing rules are somehow different for that one. Sometimes that happens. It shouldn't, but sometimes it does. Nope, there you are. What if you were to go into the protocols folder, create a new document, and then go to, in a separate window, go to your folder, basically copy everything you've got from that document and paste it into the one in the protocols folder?
I tried that and it didn't work. I also tried to take a document that was in the folder, I renamed it, and then I copied and pasted my information into it, and it's still just showing up under my drive and not in the protocol document folder. I've tried everything I can think of.
All right, so I'm going to create a document here. Let's see if I have to make the documents. Okay, so what shall we call this document?
This is the protein concentration assay document that I'm trying to get uploaded.
Okay. So I just created a document called protein concentration assay, and it should be. Oh, just a minute. Let me put it in that folder. It's in the protocols folder. Yeah, it's on my screen. That's in the upper left-hand corner here. Can you see that, Rebecca?
Yes, just give me a sec.
Okay.
I just copy and pasted it into there. Can you see anything?
Yes, I can.
All right, well, you are all powerful and I am weak, but there it is.
Are there other documents that you would like me to prepare for you, or just originate for you?
That's it for me.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rebecca. I don't know why things are going that way. I can see your icon there too. So it's regrettable that you're encountering these difficult. I don't know what's making these things happen. But in any case, so you've started creating the okay. The protein assay. Okay, so let's take a look at the STS page. I want to look at these learning objectives. So here's the theory section. An image of an actual gel. I could swear that that's one of my gels. Does everybody have gels like that?
No, I ran that one.
No kidding. Looks just like one I did as a postdoc. Okay. Okay, learning objectives. Now, are there separate learning objectives? Is there just one set of those in the document?
Scroll all the way to the bottom. I think it was Suzanne or somebody put a wonderful expanded version of objectives at the bottom.
Okay, detailed list of concepts and learning objectives.
I did those.
Well, thank you, Anna. I think that was dead on. I really liked it a lot.
Right. How do other people feel about creating similar things on your protocols as you develop them?
I can try doing this for others, and then people can edit it. It's sort of, I mean, if anybody wants to work on that too, that's great. But if you're not used to thinking that way, it might be a little tricky. But I think like systematically going through concepts and then what would you do if you understood the concept, it just takes a while to.
Okay. Okay, well, if you're willing to do that, Anya, maybe we should pull you back from creating any protocols and just make you the learning objectives person.
So I haven't taught the protein techniques class where I want to use that, like, ever. I've done the protocols, but I think in terms of the detail, I feel like if I look at the protocol, I can go through line by line and see what we can teach out of it, but it's a little harder for me to create the new protocols, not having done it recently.
Okay. Okay. So at this point, so let's talk a little bit about the protocols that we have that Anya could actually that are in condition for Anya to start doing what she does. The denaturing protein gel electrophoresis seems to be in pretty mature condition. Other things people have been working on. Now the protein concentration assay that Rebecca is reporting she's actually starting that up, and Anya, if you could help her with that.
I've done the protein concentration. I can do that. And by the way, I'm so not attached to any of them, so please feel free to chop and edit and also insert any like articles, because I tend to skip V's and A's when I write. So please don't feel bad like redoing it. I think of it as kind of brainstorming, and then it needs some fine tuning.
Okay. Okay, looking
so I could next take the protein concentration one and work on the protocol, right? Who is the author? I guess I'll find, and then we can either via email connect or just work within the document.
Hi, Anya. This is Rebecca. So that's what I've put together so far, and I put it in as using the template from the SDS page 1. So it's got a section for outcomes, but it's not filled in yet. So all I've done so far is background and then a protocol section. If you want to add in the objectives, that would be great, and then I think that one would be pretty mature too.
Yeah. Does everybody use the same protein quantitation, like reagents, or how? I guess, sorry, I haven't looked at that one.
Just like with the SDS page, I think everyone needs to look at it and see if it's going to fit or if we need to edit it to make it more broad.
So in the protein concentration one, are you identifying it as a Bradford or BCA or Lowry, or what method are you using?
I put in for a Bradford and a BCA.
Actually, I think it's good to have both. And as we're thinking about sort of assessment and design, we might be able to do where students practice in class on one, but then for some sort of assessment, we give them a challenge. Here is some information about a different assay. It has maybe slightly different range. Right now, could you write up a procedure and perform an analysis as like kind of a lot deeper assessment? Could they do that at some point? Like I've threatened my students in the intro class for the final lab practical to hand them an egg and say, could you tell me how much protein is in this egg? And I thought of trying to switch the assay on them so they can't just blindly follow the existing one.
That would be an interesting experience. Okay. So at this point, I'm looking at different protocols, and if I look at the weekly lab timeline, Ashley and Jeff are going to work on protocols for docking with PyRX and also the major databases. Have you gotten started on that? Okay. And what's that document called?
It's called Introduction to Dolly, PFAM, Blast, and PyRX.
All right. I'm going to and under blast, you're asking tutorials.
Right, Jeff asked that.
Why not link out the blend?
Yeah, I think our general consensus is it's really easy to describe to them how to do it, and it's harder to describe to them when you're looking at your results, this is what they mean, and this is how you should think about it, and stuff like that.
Okay, so maybe we should have a blast, some type of a blast segment for this project. So point them to the general blast instructions tutorial, but then have a 10 or 15-minute video on how blast applies to this project. And RIT, I just found out that RIT has a site license for Camtasia now. So any faculty member here can download it and use it. So I think we could develop that fairly easily.
Yeah, I think that having a video or a screencast is a much more effective way than saying click on this, then click on this, then click on this in a written format.
Okay.
There's one consideration to add. For some students who are hearing disabled, it is going to be essential to either have a closed caption or that list. Click on this. Click on this. To go with the video. Because they may not have to stop.
Is that my microphone? Okay, so that means that we need to be thinking about closed captioning, and we do. I've created 1 or 2 videos so far. I'll talk to the people here at RIT are pretty good at that. I just need to find out. Sandy's an expert. Okay, so maybe if you and I. Okay, good. So Sandy is Jeff's wife. She's also a professor here at RIT. So I will talk with Sandy and get started with that. And then once we figured out how the most effective way, maybe we'll invite her to come and join one of our sessions to talk about it. That'd probably be the easiest way to do it. Okay, so it looks like you've started descriptions of a number of the databases we'll be using, which is great. And maybe we should aim to have a 10 or 15-minute video for each of those databases. Okay, good. Okay, Bob, I notice on the list that you're down where we do transformation. Where are things at? Have you started working with, there's a document on the site called Introduction of Plasmid DNA into Bacteria Transformation of Competent E. coli. Okay, so I'm looking at Bob's notes in the chat. He has some materials on that protocol, but has not uploaded them yet. Well, please upload them. I think one of the things that we're all reluctant to do is we're reluctant to put things out there that aren't quite finished yet and may demonstrate that we still have a lot to learn. I'm kind of immune to that anymore, I think. So if you could upload that stuff and get it in there. And do we have anybody else joining with you on that particular one? We don't have another name there. It would probably be good to have us working on these protocols in pair, so that somebody else could take a look at this. Now, I think this may be a document that Colette already. This may be one of the ones that Colette developed. Is that true, or did one of you develop this?
I think that one's from Colette. This is Julia.
Okay.
My name's only at the very end of the timeline for putting the enzyme assay exploration, and I just wanted to add in that I'm really good at proofreading, so I can read all the documents that are up there and help with proofreading.
Okay, well I'm actually gonna add your name to the slot for the transformation one.
Okay.
And if you could take that on next. The next one is about using Promol, and I've actually got a list of 4 videos there using Promol, Blast for the project, BPAM, and Dolly for the project. I've been focused on the video, but I haven't actually written any protocols up. I will write up a protocol for the Promol. I mean, it looks like the other things that are listed there for videos. I should talk with Jeff and see which ones of those that he'll pick up. But I can certainly write a protocol on using Promol. I did a video on Motif Finder, and I'm working on one. In fact, I was working on one earlier today on Motif Maker. Once I'm done with both of those, I'll write up a protocol that takes students through the process. And if I look under protocols, I've got one called structural alignment with Promol and Pymol. So that's actually the start of that document. What I did was I just cut stuff directly out of either grant proposals, no articles, I was careful about that, but grant proposals or user guides for Promol. And I can modify that to reflect what we're doing here. Okay, now Mike is not here today, but he was going to write something on protein purification with metal ion affinity chromatography. And I'm looking to see if we have something like that yet.
I think he uploaded a Talon metal affinity user manual, and then also the Novogen overnight expression for the expression protocol.
Okay. Oh, right. I got it.
So this is for, yeah, so the Novogen's for the protein expression, and then the Talon metal affinity is for the purification. I think.
Okay. And I think, so he's out of the loop for this week, but he'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Okay. And Rebecca, you're already working on the protein assay. And the SDS page is actually shaping up very, very nicely. And I've got Bob down again for the activity assays with chromogenic substrates. And Bob, I believe that Camden did some of those down there. So are you comfortable writing that up at this point? Sure. Okay. Okay, well, I would say, why don't you let Julia proofread the transformation, or upload your transformation stuff, integrate it with the documents that's there, and give Julia a heads up, in a day or two about that, and then she can go in and proofread that, and then you can come back and take a look at the initial activity assay stuff.
I can also read Anya's things for A's and ands and thes.
Okay, good. Well, and another thing that's going to be happening here is that Anya's going to contact the folks at the University of Virginia, and if they're amenable, and I suspect they will be, we'll be getting copies of their protocols as well, and so people can refer to those protocols and decide what they want, portions that they want to take.
Okay. I have to go now. This is Julia, so I'll catch up with you all next week or whenever our next meeting is.
Let's aim for next Tuesday at 2 o'clock.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, I just attempted to create, I created a folder called University of Virginia Protocols. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, Anya already did that. Okay, so we'll use that folder for their protocols, and then as we develop our protocols, we can certainly refer to what they've been doing and incorporate the portions that fit well with our work. Okay, we're almost at 3 o'clock here, well, here in Rochester, and I just wanted to talk about, I don't think there's any other urgent stuff for today, but I wanted to talk about a little bit about, I think we should continue meeting on Tuesdays. I know next week Herbert's going to be at the American Crystallographic Association meeting. Mike will be back. Colette should be back then, and so we'll try to get them back up to date with everything we're doing. And I'm thinking about what are reasonable expectations. It seems like people are making progress on all the protocols that we need. So I think a goal would be to have at least something in draft form for each of the protocols we have listed on that weekly lab timeline by next Tuesday. And I'm hoping to have 1 or 2 more videos done by next Tuesday to share as well. And as soon as I have them ready, I will send them out. Does that seem reasonable?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm getting a pretty good. Ashley, can you? Okay. Okay, better now. So the goal is that we have assigned protocols there on the weekly timeline. If everybody could have a draft of their protocol. Most of them are already in the draft state. A couple of them need to get started, but have some kind of a draft by next Tuesday that we can look at together. And by next Tuesday, we should, I'm assuming that the people at University of Virginia are in session and active right now. And so we should communicate with them fairly quickly and find materials they have that we can share and borrow from. And so we'll be talking about that stuff next Tuesday.
That sounds great. Stefan, are you there? Because as I was trying to upload my documents to Google Drive, I saw that there's some assessment documents getting put up there. Are we supposed to be doing anything with those? And is there anything that you want us to be filling out at this point?
So as far as I know, those assessment documents aren't related to me at all. I don't know what. I've seen those files too. I think those might be something from Paul. But as far on my end, basically what everyone's working on right now, getting together, working out, fleshing out these protocols is basically exactly what I need everyone to be doing right now so I can start going through them. So other than what's already being done, I don't have any other requests.
Okay, let me explain what I've been doing. You may recall that after we got our initial report back from NSF, they wanted some answers to some more questions, and so we produced a fairly lengthy document for them. I think they were hoping for 1 or 2 pages, and they got about 12. But that included a section on faculty and TA evaluation with a number of questions. Once Trevor's back in town, and I think that's going to be next week, then I'm going to be talking with him about fleshing that out. In the meantime, if you look in the faculty, actually, I'm still sharing my screen. So what I did was I created a file, a faculty and TA log file, with the idea that each of us, everybody who's teaching this, anytime you teach a lab section in a given week, you would actually spend 10 minutes after the lab section is over and fill this out. And it's very open-ended. I'm not sure if I should be putting check boxes on there where you can just check things or whatever. I mean, I can certainly create separate logs for each of the exercises. For your sake, I would like to make this as easy as possible. If I can learn how to use Google Forms, maybe I can even have drop-down lists where under number of students or course number, we can just list the things that people have, and you go down there and select those things. And it's obviously very crude. Things that work, things that did not work, questions from students that I could not answer, questions I have about this exercise, questions I have about my sanity, and then a place for comments. Are there other things that you can think of that would be helpful to have in a document like this that you could fill out relatively quickly?
Looks good. I've put some check boxes or drop downs just for quickness, because by the time a lab 3-hour period is done and I'm running to get the kids from school, it's pretty exhausting.
Paul, do you want me to make a drop-down Google form that has this information on it? It's quite simple. I can do it.
That would be great.
Okay, will do.
And the nice thing about the Google form do it is that it will also connect it to data are collected.
Yeah, typically when I make a Google form, I just have the answers populate a Google spreadsheet.
Perfect.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you very much. Maybe at some point when it's when it's just you and me online here, you can show me how to. Once you've created that, I'd like to spend half an hour together so you can show me how it's done. Okay?
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
I wanted to add before everybody goes that in the ligand structures folder, I put the results from the hydrolase that I studied, and if anyone wants to look at that to see what we got, or look at it and be like, oh, it would be better if we did X, Y, or Z. It's not ligand structures, sorry. It's the, let's see, what's it called? It's called hydrolase structures. Sorry, Paul, it's in the hydrolase structures folder. So that's a smart Excel sheet that contains like searchable options if you actually open it in Excel. And there's 2 tabs. One is all of the data and all of the hits organized. And then the second tab is called like best results or something. And it is the best confirmation for each ligand that we got a hit on. And if someone wanted to tell me how bioinformatics people would actually present this data and what would be more useful information, I would be happy to know that.
Okay, so I've brought up the spreadsheet you created and called 2014 results. This is what you did with PyRX, is that correct?
Yes, those are the results from PyRX. And what we did is we took, first in ProMol, we took the hydrolase that we were assigned and we searched all the available motifs and we got, I think, 3 good hits. Okay. So then we took those 3 other proteins, looked for any ligands that bound to those, not just to those proteins, but to anything in those proteins EC class, and that was our ligand library that we then docked in PyRX.
Okay. And you got a very, you got good numbers. Minus 11.
Yep.
Minus 11.
If you go to the best confirmations tab at the bottom, Paul, you can see where, because a lot of them are the same confirmation. So this is just the best confirmation for each ligand.
I see.
And then you can see we've put the file name, the binding affinity, the EC, the ligand's name if you wanted to pull those out and search them quickly, the proteins that that ligand was originally bound to, and then the overall energy of the conformation.
Okay.
And I have no idea if that's the results that we wanted, but that's what we have.
I think that those are the kind of results we're looking for. I'm wondering if we could use this to create a template that students would use for creating their reports. Would that be good, or would that be too easy?
I mean, as far as a report that they were turning in to like get graded for assessment, I would think that would be too easy. Like, I would make them do more than that. Yeah. But as far as I know that we're going to be sharing data among not only at our school, but we're going to be sharing data among the whole group. And yeah. I think for that, it would be much better if we had some kind of standard form.
Okay, here's my question. Can you teach us how to do this?
So, can I teach you how to make the spreadsheet, or can I teach you the whole process of what I just described?
I'm thinking. I think initially just how to make the spreadsheet.
Okay. So I have a document. I can upload it now, but I'm just warning everyone that a student wrote this, and he kind of wrote it from the perspective of when another student needs to do this, this is the directions that they would need. So I'm going to upload that, and that'll have all the information.
Okay. We'll need to take it. Where are you going to place it?
I'm putting it in that same hydrolyzed structures folder.
Okay.
And I can put it somewhere else, but that's where I'm putting it right at this instant. So it's called docking instructions.
Okay.
And there are some things in there that are not relevant, like once you've gotten the results from PyRX, using ligplot to identify new active site motifs to make a new motif, like that might not be something that we want to do at this point.
Okay. Well, I think what I'd like to do at this point, Ashley, is actually to take this and run it myself
Okay.
and see how it feels. And talk about it next week. But thanks for doing this. I think this will be helpful to all of us.
This is the kind of thing that I actually do. Like, I've never run an SDS page gel. I can't help with that at all. But this I can do.
I mean, it's what you created here fits as one of the protocols for, or will contribute to a protocol for the docking stuff with Jeff. So certainly keep going with it and incorporate that stuff into the docking with PyRX protocol.
Yeah, that's where I'm starting with that. But I'll put it up there if anybody else wants to see it to really know how we created that Excel document.
Okay, and you also mentioned a couple other things in here, something called Text Wrangler and something called Lig Plus.
So Text Wrangler is not anything. Text Wrangler is just a standard text editor. So when you need to download a file but you don't want to open it in Word or something, like it's just a plain text file, it's not a Word document, there are countless text editors that you could choose to do that with, and the one of them that comes pre-installed on Macs is called Text Wrangler, but it is nothing but a standard text editor.
Got it. Okay.
And then Lig Plus like I said, we may not want to do the Lig Plus part, but one thing that I was interested in after we got the docked confirmations is what was the active site of the unknown hydrolase. And Lig Plus is an open source software package that I've used before that does that. It takes a PDB with a ligand bound to it, and it tells you which proteins are in the or which residues are in the active site. So that's the Lig Plus part. It's just if you're interested, after you have the ligand docked in the protein from PyRX, if you're interested in knowing what the active site is, Lig Plus can do that for you.
I would include it.
And it's not on our current software list, but it's free and comically easy to download and install.
Sounds great.
I think we just adopt it.
So it's in there too. The instructions for that are in there too. The installation instructions are not, but if anybody has trouble, I mean, you could Google it and do it, but if anybody has trouble, just let me know.
Okay. Good. Good. Well, thanks very much. This this project is becoming more and new. This is great. Other concerns for today? Okay. Well, I guess we'll say farewell, and we'll plan to meet again next Tuesday. At that time, we're going to review our protocols to see where we stand. I'm going to talk some more about learning outcomes with Anya, and then we'll also I'll update folks on closed captioning and what we need to do to make that happen. Maybe we'll get Jeff's wife Sandy to join us. And we'll see if she's available then to talk a little bit about Camtasia and closed captioning. I think that'll be more than enough to keep us busy next week. All right, folks. Well, keep up the good work. Enjoy your summer, and let's try to get something completely wrapped up by the end of the first week in August, so that we're able to have some marching orders going into the start of classes later in August. RIT. And I hope you have some good weather and you get to enjoy it.
Bye-bye.
Right, great. Next week.
Bye.